right, those of you who did the extra credit last week will notice that we did greatest common factor last week, but it was level 1. This week, we are working on level 2. What does level 2 look like? Well, as you can see, the numbers are larger. That's really pretty much it. So, let's begin. I wrote these out, so if you wanted to take a picture, pause it, and put this in your notes for the later on for your quiz, you might want to do that. All right, well, these are my factors, my binomial, and under here, again, I drew it out for you. I looked at it and said, well, you know what, 9 goes into both of these. In fact, in this case, it's negative 9. Negative 9 times 8 is negative 72. Negative 9 times 5 is negative 45. And x squared, there's the x's. This had 1x. So what do they have in common? That's always the question. Well, they both have negative 9, and they both have x. So I've circled them and yellowed them, and that's what you see here, the greatest common factor. The remaining factors go within the parentheses. Remember, this was a binomial, so your answer has to contain a binomial, 2 terms, 8x and a 5. And I've labeled them for you, so that would be your final answer right there. Let's look at the next example. Well, this has a negative 4 and an 18. Now, notice, what do they have in common? Well, I could change negative 4 to 2 times negative 2, x. And I could take 18 and say, well, 2 times 9 is 18. And so there's my factor of 2. Notice that what's left over? 4x's here, x to the 4th, repeated multiplication, and a negative 2 in front. Don't worry that the variables in the back. Please don't just switch them around. Even though because this is addition you could, then it would be 9x to the 4th minus 2. Just don't do more work than you have to. That's my general rule. All right, if you want to check it, you would distribute. 2x times negative 2 is negative 4x. 2x times 9x to the 4th is 18x to the 5th. So we can say, check it off and say, yes, we've done that correctly. Now, this is the way it's done in Delta Math. I noticed, I went in and looked. They didn't pull out the negative, even though I taught you in class that when you see a negative in front, you should. Why they didn't do that here, I do not know. So I'm just showing you the way they showed it so you don't get answers wrong. Remember, on the classwork, you can see their work anyway. But on the quiz that's at the end, you will not be able to see the answers. So please remember that for Friday. Don't count on that. So this is done the same way, taking out the 4 times 10 and 4 times 7. So I wrote it out. 4 times negative 10, negative 40. Remember your sign rules. 4 times 7 is a positive 28. That's what I got. There's a picture of all the x's, but this one didn't have an x. So what happens now? Well, it's not a common factor, is it? So the only thing I could pull out here is the 4, leaving a negative 10 and a 7x cubed. So it's really just that simple. Let's do a few together. So here we go. What's the greatest common factor for 4 and 16? And remember, if you need to, download a multiplication chart and look at. That's a good, easy fix for if you're not sure or you just can't think of it. Okay, 4 goes into 4. And 4 goes into 16. So this would be 4 times 1, y, minus 4 times 4, y. I don't know, Miss Malone. All right, so what's common? 4 and 4, and y squared. So what's remaining? Well, I'll put it down here. Well, let's take out the GCF. So that would be 4y squared times what? What's remaining is a 1. What's remaining here? Are you guessing it? Hopefully you are. It would be 4y. So, does 2 plus 1 equal 3? Yes, there it is. Okay, let's try another one. I'm going to use another color. What's the number they have in common? 21 and 14. Come on, you know, you know. I know, Miss Malone, it's 7. Yes, it is. Now, do they have any variables in common? Nope, sure don't. So the only thing we're pulling out there would be 7. So let's divide here. Or this is the way I think of it. I just think 7 times what gives me 21? And of course the x is there. That would be 21x. 7 goes into 14 how many times? Plus 2. So 7 times 2 gives me 14. I've checked it as I did my work. Okay, here's the last one. I am going to show you in this one what happens if I take out the negative. Like I said, I actually believe that's the more proper way of doing it, but I just did want to give you a heads up for Delta Math. Don't want you saying, oh, but this is how they did it. But if we did take out the negative, you should be able to do that. What do these two numbers have in common? Hopefully, you were thinking this is 4 times 5, and this is 4 times 4. Now, here we do need a negative, right? So, if I take out the negative 4, notice that leaves me with a negative 4 here. So, negative 4 comes out because you've got a leading number with a negative. And then, what's left? X. Well, we have 1x here and 2 there, so I can only pull out the 1. And the y's, I can only pull out one y because you got y here, but then you have y. Remember, you can only pull out the smallest number of the exponent. So, there it is. So now let's go back and fill in the rest of our problem. Well, if I've divided out negative 4, I have 5. If I've taken 1 away from the x's, I only have 1x left because x times x is x squared, and y has been removed. So that would be the first remaining factor. Now, what's left now? It would be negative because I pulled out a negative. So I pulled out the x, gone. I pulled out 1y, that leaves me with negative 4y squared. I know, that's like tricky because it's not exactly the way they did it in Delta Math. So let's just do it again in Delta Math's way so that you're not feeling tricked. So basically, what would that be? That would be 4 times negative 5. Then this would be just 4 times 4, pulling out a positive 4. The other things would stay the same. But notice negative 5 in here now. And notice a positive 4. So there you go. These two answers are actually the same. So I just really wanted you to see that, so that in the future, when you see it this way, you won't think, oh, that's not how I learned it. And so here's your you try. Let's do one more to try. Okay, so there's your you try. Pause the video, and let's come back and see what the answer is. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you got that. And, wow, this turned out to be one of the longest videos. That's interesting. All right, so you all take care, and I'll see you next time. I hope this helped. And there's a picture of the whole page in case you want to get that into your notes or take a picture of it. Have a great day, guys. You're doing great, by the way.